I went back to The Incredibles thinking I knew exactly what I was getting. A fun superhero movie, great characters, and a pretty straightforward story. But that's not really what this movie is. Because Mr. Incredible might be physically one of the strongest characters you can imagine, but emotionally he's struggling the entire time. And that's what makes this movie hit a lot harder than you expect. Quick shout out to my brother Hughes for recommending this one. This is my first time watching it in years, so yeah, this would surprise me. And if you've got a movie you want me to review, leave it in the comments. If I pick yours, I'll give you a shout out too. The opening of The Incredibles sets everything up really quickly. You see Mr. Incredible doing exactly what he's supposed to do. Saving people, stopping crime, being the hero. It all feels like a classic superhero world. But almost immediately things start to go wrong. Not because he's failing, but because the world around him starts to react differently. And that changes everything. Because now you're not just watching a hero do his job. You're watching a world that doesn't really want him to do it anymore. One of the smartest things The Incredibles does visually is how it contrasts its worlds. The earlier superhero world is bright, stylized, and larger than life. Everything feels bold and almost idealized. Then you move to Bob's present, and everything changes. The colors are more muted, the environments feel more grounded, and everything looks a lot more ordinary. At the same time, the movie has a really distinct style. The character designs are more exaggerated, but still grounded. And the world has that retro futuristic look that makes everything feel slightly unique. So even as the movie shifts visually, it never loses its identity. The world doesn't just look different. It feels different. One of the biggest strengths of The Incredibles is how alive the scenes feel, even when there's not a lot happening. A big part of that comes from the characters. Bob is grounded and direct, but characters like Frozone and Edna bring a completely different kind of energy that instantly changes the rhythm of a scene. At the same time, the score constantly pushes things forward. It has a strong spy-like feel that gives the movie momentum and keeps everything from feeling slow. So between the characters and the music, there's always something driving the scene. And you see that especially in smaller moments. Something like the "Where is my supersuit" scene works, not just because of the lines, but because of the delivery and the timing. It feels like a real conversation just placed in a ridiculous situation. And that's what makes it stick. The acting in The Incredibles works because of how well the characters play off each other. Bob brings a grounded, frustrated energy that gives the movie its emotional weight. He feels like someone trying to hold everything together even when it's slipping. Then you've got Helen, balancing that out with a more steady, controlled presence, while characters like Frozone and Edna bring completely different energy into their scenes. That mix keeps everything moving and stops the movie from feeling too heavy or one note. You see that even in smaller moments too, like when Bob is working at the insurance company and quietly helping people work around the system. There's nothing flashy about it, but it shows exactly who he is. Even when he's stuck, he's still trying to help. Another thing the movie does really well is how it handles the family as a whole. Each member brings something different, and they don't all start in the same place. Helen is already more grounded and focused on keeping everything together. Dash wants to use his abilities and doesn't understand why he's being held back. Violet is more withdrawn and trying to avoid attention altogether. So we've got three different personalities on the same situation. And that makes the family dynamic feel more real. They're not all on the same page. They're still trying to figure it out as they go. But as the movie progresses, you start to see that shift. They begin to work together and trust each other more and actually function as a unit. And that actually ties directly into the bigger idea of the movie, because it's not just about Bob learning he can't do everything alone. It's about the entire family learning how to work together. The opening sequence with Mr. Incredible shows you more than just action. It shows you someone trying to do everything right. He's helping people, stopping problems, and he's doing what he's supposed to do. But everything starts stacking up. Each situation gets more complicated, and even when he's trying to do good, it doesn't always lead to a good outcome. And that's the key, because that idea carries throughout the entire movie. He keeps trying to do the right thing, but it doesn't always work out the way he expects. And what makes that sequence stand out is how quickly everything stacks. There's no break between those moments. It just keeps building until it becomes too much to manage. Where The Incredibles really stands out is how it handles responsibility. Bob isn't just dealing with missing the past. He's dealing with the pressure of trying to hold everything together. He wants to provide for his family, protect him, and feel like he's doing something that matters. But instead of sharing that pressure, he keeps it to himself. And that's where things start to break down, because the movie shows the problem isn't just what he's going through, it's how he handles it. He takes on more, hides more, and tries to carry everything alone. And that creates distance between him and his family. So when things finally come to a head, it's not just about stopping the villain. It's about him realizing he can't do it alone. He can't do it by himself. The pacing in The Incredibles works because of how well it balances everything. You've got action, character moments, and family dynamics all happening throughout the movie. But it never feels like one is taking over too much. The movie knows when to slow down and focus on characters, and when to pick things back up with bigger moments. That balance keeps the movie from feeling overwhelming while still keeping it engaging. And that helps with how smoothly the movie transitions between those moments. It never feels like it's jumping from one thing to another. Everything connects in a way that feels natural. So the shifts between action, character, and humor don't feel jarring. At the end of the day, The Incredibles is just really entertaining to watch from start to finish. It keeps a consistent level of engagement without relying on constant big moments. It balances action, character, and humor in a way that keeps everything moving. There's always something happening, even in quieter scenes. And that's what makes the movie work. You're not waiting for the next big moment, you're engaged the entire time. And a big part of that comes from how well the movie mixes those elements together. You can go from something serious to something funny to something action heavy, and it never feels disconnected. Everything flows naturally. At the end of the day, The Incredibles is more than just a fun superhero movie. It works on the surface, but there's a lot more going on underneath. And that's what makes it stick. Going into this, I honestly thought it would be a king. But it ended up being way better than I remembered. So for me, it's an ace. And yeah, Hughes, this was a great call. But that's just my hand. Let me see yours. If you got a movie you want me to review, drop it in the comments. If I pick yours, I'll give you a shout out. And if you want to see another movie review from the deck, click right here.